Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Healthcare Connector, where we are working to amplify the voices of women and people of color in healthcare. Today, I have Dr. Roque on the phone, on the podcast. And you know, we don't like to waste any time, so I'm going to jump right in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, that good stuff.
Well, my name is Dr. Roque. I am a chiropractor. I also am a nutritionist because getting a doctorate just wasn't enough schooling for me, I guess. I had to go ahead and get a
And add
master's.
some more on there.
Yes, I'm crazy. I'm one of those people. So I have a master's as well, and
Mm-hmm.
I usually help women. That's what I like to do with the nutrition part. Help women to take control of their lives again, get their hormones in balance, and help them with diabetes, and help them with their families as well to get everything under
Okay.
control. And then on the chiropractic side, I work a lot with families and
Mm-hmm.
mainly athletes, and then also pregnancy to help women through their pregnancy to make sure that they don't have that
Mm-hmm.
waddle. They're feeling better because you have a kid, it's a lot,
Yes.
especially towards
A
the
whole,
end.
whole lot.
Yeah. So I like to help women to just get through their pregnancy without any troubles, without anything, and just for it to be a breeze. And they're like, I want to be pregnant again because I felt great. So that is
Mm-hmm.
what I do. And I also created a group called the Chiropractic Women of Color, just so we have women are minorities in the field of chiropractic
Mm-hmm.
in general. And
Mm-hmm.
as women of color, we're not only a minority of being a woman, but we're also a minority in America. So I
Yes.
wanted to give us voices and know that we are not alone and get as many women as possible together to try and inspire each other, help each other out,
Mm-hmm.
and get to know each other.
So right beside overachiever in the dictionary is your picture right there to the left of it. I love it. I'm the same way. Like I keep going to school and people keep telling me what in the world. Um, so you're a chiropractor and like you said, women are minorities and minorities in that field. Did you always know that that's what you wanted to be? Did you know about what it would take to be a chiropractor? I usually ask that because I know when I was growing up and people said healthcare, like I thought that meant you was a doctor in a hospital or a nurse in a hospital. Like I didn't know all the different things that you could do. So did you always know that you were going to go that route?
Absolutely not. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was when I went to undergrad, I played college soccer. So
Okay.
I was my original degree, like line of degree,
Mm-hmm.
was athletic
Mm-hmm.
training because I like sports.
Okay.
I was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
let me have my whole life around sports even after I get done playing them, right? I thought that
Mm-hmm.
that would be great. Well, I remember my sophomore year of college, the director of the athletic training department, basically told me, you either become an athletic trainer or you quit soccer. You can't have both.
Mm.
Or you have to, if you
Okay.
want to become an athletic trainer, you have to quit soccer. You can't do both of
Mm-hmm.
them. And I was like, and I grew up in California and I was in
Mm-hmm.
Kansas. So
Mm.
I'm like, the only reason why I am in Kansas is to play
Yes, it's for
soccer
soccer.
and to be an athletic trainer. I'm not gonna do one or the other. Like that makes no sense. So I actually
Mm-hmm.
ended up switching my degree to biology just so I can have those courses that I knew I would need because I wanted to go further on. Um, so fast forward a bunch of years, I worked in a lab for a couple of years
Mm-hmm.
as a organic chemist and a microbiologist. That's fun, right?
Something else. I'm okay.
It's just that's what I did. um,
Okay.
and then I was like, I just don't want to do it. So I was like, well, maybe physical therapy. I can go to
Mhm.
physical therapy, get a master's in physical therapy, and that's what I can do. Well, I called the physical therapy people, see what I had to do, and they were like, "Oh, you have to start. You can't just go straight from the bachelor's to the master's anymore. You have to start all the way over to get your bachelor's again, and then continue on through that. It's a 6 year program." And I was like, "Wait,
Now that don't make no sense.
yes." I was like, "Wait, what? You want me to do what?" So
Yeah.
I did not do that. I looked into it, and the college that I graduated from, Logan University, which is in St. Louis, Missouri, they had
Mhm.
a master's in sports rehabilitation. So
Okay.
that is what kind of steered me into chiropractic. I went and looked at that, got, did a visit,
Mm-hmm.
talked to the counselors, did all that stuff. And they were like, well, you have to I had a little bit of prerequisites I had to do before I could start the sports program, the rehabilitation program. But the chiropractic program, I had like everything except for like 2 classes. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. And they're like,
Okay.
well, maybe you should look into it. So I looked into it, and rest is history. And funny thing is, I never got that rehab master's. I got a master's in nutrition
Okay.
and human performance.
Okay. And so what made you want to go back and or also add on that nutrition aspect to it?
Well, the way that they design their program is I've always been a big nutrition person, always, like
Okay.
since
Okay.
day one. I've always been like
Mm-hmm.
that's been my thing. But what they do in their program is that they allow some of your classes that you're taking as with the doctorate, it coincides with the master's classes. So you're like taking a class that's worth credits for both programs.
Okay.
So
That
I
makes
just
sense.
had to take, I don't know how many, it's been a while, but I just had to
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to take that many extra classes to get
Mm-hmm.
my master's. And I was like, well, sports rehabilitation, I'm learning so much in chiropractic school. I already know all this stuff. Like, do I really
Mm-hmm.
need to get that?
Yeah.
Let me go this way and get my nutrition because I only had like 1 or 2 classes in nutrition. Let me do that so I know a little bit more and have a little bit more expertise, I guess, and authority, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Definitely.
how
Okay.
I ended up doing that master's. But it was not that much extra. It was like 2 extra classes this trimester for like 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot.
Okay.
Now that I'm saying it out loud, but it,
But now you
it
have
worked out.
expertise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is a misconception that people have about chiropractors or about, the journey to become a chiropractor, being a chiropractor? What's a myth that you think people have or misconception?
Oh my God. I think one of the biggest myths is that we have like no schooling and that it's like something that people
Mm,
can do like overnight or like in a weekend seminar. Like there's jokes. I watch TV shows, like I watch Family Guy and I've seen one where they're like,
mm-hmm.
oh, I'm a chiropractor. I did a seminar last weekend. Like there's things like that. And
No.
then you watch things like what is that other show called? 2.5 Men. The one of the main
Mm-hmm.
characters was a chiropractor and you see him like
Mm-hmm.
whenever they show him at work, you're like, what? Like that's
What is
just
he doing?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's just a huge misconception of what we can do and how we do it, and people
Mm-hmm.
just don't know. I don't want people say ignorance is bliss, right? Our
Mm-hmm.
society is not made to try to holistically heal. We've been
Yes.
taught to get medication for everything. We've been taught to
Mm-hmm.
that that's the way you're supposed to go versus allowing our body to show its innate ability to heal itself. We have an
Mm-hmm.
amazing immune system. We have amazing structures. Like we have such amazing things in our body. And what happens is that our body has so much interference and the nervous system is backed up or whatever for whatever reason. And what chiropractic does is it opens up those channels to allow your body to heal, allow your body to do the things that it's supposed to do. It's like if you think about a dam, you block a dam, the water can't, I mean, you make a dam,
Response.
the water can't flow to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So if something's
Mm-hmm.
going on in your body in a joint that can be fixed with an adjustment, you're opening up that space, taking that dam away, and the water is flowing freely. And all of a sudden, things that you've been dealing with for however long, they're no longer there. Headaches. You're like, oh my God, I might have a headache once every month when I was having one 2 or 3 a day. Like
Yeah.
it's awesome. So those are some
I'm
of the
so glad I
misconceptions.
had you. I agree with you, and I'm so glad that we are able to have you on here because I know growing up and even as an adult, until I got to our partner now, I thought that people only went to chiropractors after they had a car accident. Like I felt like the only time I ever heard growing up of people going was after they had car accidents. And then my partner, he goes regularly to the chiropractor to get adjusted. And I was like, okay, there's more to this than just um go after you think you got whiplash. And I don't think people know that, or like you said, understand that preventative side of it, because we've just been brainwashed to think just throw a pill at it. Just take this pill and be okay, or maybe not be okay.
Right. No, and also, like I said before, I like working with kids. Think about a
Mm-hmm.
kid. If you think about a toddler just learning to walk right. How many times are they falling and hurting themselves and they just pop
Yes.
back up and just keep going on?
Mm-hmm.
And they're not able to articulate some of the pains or
Mm-hmm.
some of the things that might be going on or some of the discomforts. Maybe they've been falling a bunch and all of a sudden they get constipated or whatever. And it's like, oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's something they ate, but you haven't changed anything. And it could be just as simple as adjusting their low back because those falls were messing up their back and it was causing the
I
constipation. Like all it just it's a
mm-hmm.
trickle effect.
Mind blown here because I wasn't even thinking about, and I know you said you work with families. I wasn't even thinking about like working with kids or anything like that. So, push, yeah. What are you most proud of in your career business right now?
Oh, that's hard. I think right now, currently, one of the
Hmm.
things I'm probably most proud of is the chiropractic women of color. Just
Yes.
because I've been able to to create this community that was not there. And
Hmm.
there is a community of the American Black Chiropractic Association, but
Hmm.
that's men, that's women, and it's only blacks.
Hmm.
Whereas chiropractic women of color is for all of us
Hmm.
that have been left in the shadows, all of us that never see ourselves on the stages. How many times do you go to a convention and you might see one or two women there, but of those one or
Hmm.
two women, there's no one that is a minority whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of where we've come and we're creating this family of just minority women so that we can see ourselves at those stages. We're creating our own pathway to be able to see ourselves there and where people are like begging to be part of our organization because they're
Hmm.
like, wow, I didn't even know that this could be done. And it also
Hmm.
starts with the students because we've talked to a lot of students. So we're getting as many students as we can and their mentors and then the mentors and we're just trying
Hmm.
to get as many people as we can. So I think that right now is I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, well, that's something definitely to be proud of, and what I definitely want to talk more about. So, you're creating this community. Are there what's a part of that community? Is it are there any services there? Is it just creating that community feeling amongst chiropractors who are women of color? Tell us more about that
So
program or
currently
that
we have
service.
like it's all right. We have directory.
Hmm.
So like
Hmm.
if I have a
Ooh.
patient in Texas that is going to California for maybe they're
Hmm.
moving to California, well I can look at the directory and say, well, I know
Yes.
Dr.
That is so important.
Susie is in California in this area. She's great. I've seen her talk. I know what she kind of does. I think you might like her. Here's Dr. Susie's information. There you go. So we have that kind of realm, and
Hmm.
then we
That is
also
so
have
important.
helping each other with branding ourselves, so that we make sure, like, yes, you're an expert because you got all these degrees, but sometimes we have imposter syndrome, right? So we have to make sure
Hmm.
that we feel confident with that. So making sure
Yes.
everybody knows how to brand themselves, how to niche themselves, just educating each other with that. And then right now, currently, we've had a couple Houston meetups, and we have one
Hmm.
lined up at the end of the month for some students to have a meetup with some of the board and
Hmm.
them. And then we have in the works conferences so that we can actually get CEUs and see
Yes.
all of us on the stage, all the chiropractic women of color on the stage, and you're learning about things that will help you later on in practice or help you in life or whatever that may be, and get CEUs so you can keep your license. So we're
Yes.
doing all that stuff right now, and we have so
That's a
much
lot.
more. Yeah, we I couldn't do it by myself. I
Um,
originally I was doing it by myself, and then someone asked
hmm.
me if they could get involved, and I was like, yes. And then we got more
Yeah.
involvement from other people. So there's five of us or five of us that are part of the board on there.
I love it. And I think, I guess two things I want to call out. One, I think it's amazing that you all have a directory that people can be a part of and that you can refer people from. It's so important, especially because a lot of people, might not know about all the different services you can get from a chiropractor, but to be able to have a directory where you can find someone that looks like you. So I do a lot of like work around health equity and patient trust, and just in trying to like build trust with our community, it's important to be able to find someone that looks like you.
Yes.
And so that directory is very important.
Yes, it is really good.
I'm sorry. Okay. And then the other thing that I was going to call the conferences or being able to offer classes, because I think you mentioned this earlier. I've definitely been in a place where you walk into the conference or you walk into the classroom and there's no one that looks like you. And so being able to create a space where not only are there people who look like you in the audience, but also people who look like you up on the stage. So those are both two amazing things. So how did you learn about running the business and starting the organization? Because that's not something they teach in school, no matter what healthcare like professional track, unless it's like healthcare administration or something. But most healthcare professional tracks, they don't teach you the business part of it.
No, not at all. I'm still learning. I started on Instagram, just created an account. I was like, let's see if this name is taken. And I just started typing. And Facebook, let's just see if this has been taken. Yeah. So that's how it started. And then people started following. And I was like, oh, crap. Okay. Like, this is cool. So it actually took like 8 to 9 months before it was actually a business, like actually a business entity. And I like to read. And I'm one of those people, you could tell me stuff until I'm blue in the ears or whatever, however that saying goes. You're blue in the lips. That's where it goes. That's how it goes. Yeah. But I need to visually see it. Like I was that student who had every single textbook, who did all that stuff, right? So I actually got a legal book or something like that on how to create all this stuff, what we need, how to make sure everybody's partnerships are, their percentage of the business is correct and all that. And I looked a lot into it. And so that's what I did. And I mean, yes, I can go with the lawyer and all that other stuff, but as a startup and I'm just doing it and I'm like, I don't know if anybody's going to want to do it. I didn't want to put that kind of money or resources into it at that point.
Well, and I think it's huge that you got started. Like you said, I mean, you just went on to IG and saw what the name was taken. And a lot of people don't get started because they think they have they need all the things. Have you always been that type of person that will just, jump out there and just do it? Or was there fear involved that you had to move past? Like, what was that like?
No, I am one of those people that just jump. I'm
jealous.
My husband says I'm overly optimistic a lot of times. I will just something will just pop into my head in the middle of the night and I'll type it up or whatever, write it down in a note wherever. And then the next day I'm like going at it. But I have a very fixated mind, if that makes sense. Like an AD, I don't want to say OCD, but it's something like that to where if I have something that's on my mind, I can't stop doing it until that is finished. I just keep going and keep going, which creates some troubles in some areas of my life. But like it's always been like that. I can pick up a book and if it's very intriguing to me, I can't put it down until I finish that book. Like literally, I don't know why. I will stay up until all hours of the night just reading this book. It doesn't matter what kind of book it is, just reading. So that's always how it is. So I knew this is what I want to do. So I was fixated on how I can create all this different stuff. And it's so funny because myself and Dr. Lindsay, who's the vice president, we're like yin and yang, right? She's always like, okay, let's slow down and let's figure out X, Y, Z first. And I'm like, no, let's just go. Let's go. Like we got to do it now. So we complement each other very well on that aspect because she might give me an idea or say an idea and I'm like, ooh, that's great. I'll do it today. Or ooh, that's great. I'll do it to get it done by the end of the weekend. And then she's like, girl, you need to just relax. So I've always been like that.
And that's important to have because I have these amazing, or I think they're amazing ideas too. And like, I want to jump right into it too. And so it's important that you've got that partnership. How did you, like a lot of us are scared to add on team members or jump, or delegate because it's your baby. Like you started this. How did you know when it was time to bring on other people, delegate tasks, create this board, that it wasn't going to work if it was just you?
So Dr. Lindsay came on fairly soon. Like she actually was was she the first person I ever interviewed? She might have been first person I ever interviewed.
Okay.
So she, like, after we got done talking, she was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And she just typed to me and asked me if she could help in any way that she can. And I was like, absolutely. It might not have been the first. She was sometime in the beginning. And she asked, and I said, sure. And we happened to go to the same school, like just randomly. We graduated from the same college in Missouri. We both live in Houston, Texas. It's just random, just serendipitous, right?
So it worked. Yeah, everything aligned.
So we did that, and then we just get on the phone and talk about different things and feed off of each other. And then other people started saying that they wanted to be involved after they had been interviewed or after watching some interviews. So we basically were like, okay, we got one girl and we're like, okay, there was this other lady who every single time we were on a conversation, she was always messaging. She was always asking questions. She was so engaged in all the interviews. I was like, I want to interview you. And she was a student she's still a student. She's a student. And I was like, would you like to be involved? And she's our student liaison now. So every time our board will have a student that is on the board so that we have a perspective of a student and also doctors, because her perspective of life is way different than ours. So with planning and everything, we're like our event that we're having at the end of the month. She was like, well, I don't know if you guys know this, but on whatever date it is, that's boards. They're taking part 2 boards and people might not be able to come. And we were like, oh, I'm so glad you said that because we had no idea. We
had no idea. So it's so important to have those different perspectives, that diverse thinking around you. So another question for you. Healthcare is crazy right now. The world is crazy right now. What's still motivating you to get up and, stay in this field and not say, okay, like I've had enough of it. I'm tired of it. People don't listen. Or people don't know about it. I'm just going to, throw in the towel.
Probably. Okay. So my kids are a huge motivation factor for me for a lot of things. I want to make sure that they know as much as possible about holistic lifestyle and things. Like sometimes they can be embarrassing because we'll be somewhere and they'll say some stuff off the cuff about health and wellness to someone who's not doing it. And I'm like, oh my God, just stop. You're not an expert. Just stop talking right now. And I remember one time my daughter her teacher said something and she argued with her teacher about it because I had told her something different, but it's embarrassing. But anyway, they motivate me.
She knew she was right.
She did. And it's so funny. She's on track her goal is to be a lawyer. So it's like right on par. When she was little, she's an 8th grader now, but when she was little, she was arguing with the teacher. And I'm like, oh God. But anyway, so their motivation, but then also just seeing like people in my family that like cousins and uncles and aunts that are having these underlying conditions or these problems. And they're just like, oh, it's old age, or, oh, it's hereditary. I'm going to have it because my granny has it, which is my grandma, she has it. So, and my dad has it. So I'm going to get this too. And a lot of them are like preventable conditions that nutrition is preventable, or maybe they have some back pain and their back pain could go away if they just get adjustments. And just seeing them. And it's like, man, if you guys don't know, and you guys are all my family is a highly educated family. Like, I'm not trying to say to toot my own horn, but we have multiple master's degrees in our family,
Mm-hmm.
multiple, like I think almost every single grandkid has a bachelor's in something, and then we got a couple
Mm-hmm.
doctors and we have a couple master's students. Like, but they have no idea about health. So
Yes.
if you guys don't know, what about the people in the underprivileged areas? Like, what about the areas where you see that the food that they have access to is terrible, but it's what's affordable for them and what they have to eat at that moment. So that drives me too, because I want to be able to help other people know that they don't have to
Mm-hmm.
live with diabetes. They don't have to live with heart disease. They don't have to live with high cholesterol. They don't have to live with infertility, PCOS, like all these things you don't have to live with. And if you have a disc herniation, that doesn't mean that you have to have back surgery.
Mm-hmm.
If you have some muscle spasm, you don't have to have medication. Like if you get injured, that does
Mm.
not mean it's the end of the world and you can't move or
Yeah.
anything. Like I want them to know that there are holistic ways to improve their health, whether that's adjustments or whether that's nutrition, and we can get you back on your feet as soon as possible. Like I just want people to know, like, because I didn't know so much. And when I went to school, my
Mm-hmm.
eyes were open, and then I joined, did some other research for other things. I wrote some books, and I was like, oh my God, I had no idea that this was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to share it with as many people as possible.
And I think that's why, I really wanted to have you all on the show because our communities don't know. And to be able to hear it from someone that I can relate to, someone that I look at and that looks like me, I'll trust that more. And so then maybe we can start changing this perspective in our communities, and people don't always think, okay, I gotta go have this surgery or I gotta live with taking these pills for the rest of my life, because there are other things that you can do. And so that's why I was so excited to have you on the show. What's next? So what are you going to be doing in the next 5 years?
Oh, in the next 5 years. So like for CWC, goal is to
Mm-hmm.
be able to give at least 3 to 4 scholarships to women of
Wow.
color to go to a chiropractic college. Like that is for
Wow.
them. Like
Okay.
I didn't even realize that there were scholarships available for grad school. How awesome would that be if we are able to raise enough funds to where we're sending
Mm-hmm.
different women to chiropractic
Yes.
school every year? Like that is one of the biggest goals. I know it's a huge goal, but it's something that I want us to achieve so much. And then for my personal life is this is going to be monetary, but whatever.
So
I'm sorry, I'm crazy.
go for it. Go for it.
But it's to have like multiple streams of income that are creating millions of dollars each so that I can, when my kids, well, I do this anyway now, but I want to be a millionaire
Mm-hmm.
while I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
My kids have a game, I'm right there. My daughter
Yes.
has a debate because she's going to be in debate school. I'm right, or debate class. I'm right there.
Yep.
Like, I could be supportive, still do what I want to do with my kids. Still, my husband wants to go somewhere. We want to go on a vacation. I can do that, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm still making money on the back end because I've
Yes.
created this life for myself that I am able to help people, but also live the life I want to live and be happy and healthy. I always tell everybody,
Mm-hmm.
be happy and healthy. Like that's one of the
Be
number two
happy and
goals
healthy.
in life.
Yes, I love it. And hey, don't feel bad about saying it. That's one of my that's one of my goals too, to have multiple streams of income. And I tell people, to be able to create the life that what the life that you deserve. Whatever you define as success, you should be able to create that and create a legacy. Like you said, you're doing it for your kids. And then I love it, the giving back through the organization, because not only are you trying to change your life, but changing the life of the women that's coming after you. And we all know when you give a woman an opportunity, that doesn't just change her life, that changes her families, and that changes her community's life. So definitely love that. Now let's go in the other direction, because I always like asking people this question. What would it be if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice? What would it be?
Oh my God. So I saw that in the question list you had given us, and I was
It's my
thinking,
favorite one.
I was like, man, there's so much. There's just so when I was 16, I was a junior in high school. I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated at
Yeah.
17.
Okay.
And girl, I thought I knew everything. I thought I was so grown. Like, if I could tell my younger self, first of all, it would be to work hard. I did not learn how to work hard until after I had my daughter. I had my daughter my junior year of college. I did not know the meaning of working hard. I want to say, like, I was always, was good at stuff and could just do it and not have to work hard. But
Yep, I'm there with you.
It's hard, right? Like, if you're good at stuff, you really don't have to work hard for it. But when college hit, freshman, sophomore year, college hit, it was a little bit harder because I wasn't working hard. I didn't know how to. So I had to learn how to do that. And I did not learn it until I was 21. And I was like, man, if I can do this, it kept me off the field my freshman year of college, not working hard. Because I was like, I'm good. You wanted me. Oh, yeah. So why do I need to do anything? You know, and then not realizing not only did they want me, but they wanted all these other girls too. All these other girls were just as good as me. So I need to bring my A game and not bring my B plus game. I needed the A. I needed the A plus, right? So I would just say to learn how to work hard and also listen to what your parents are saying about life down the road. Because
that's a hard one.
Yes, did not listen.
Well, to the 16-year-old you, that would be a hard one to listen to.
That'd be hard. But like now, I go to my mom for so much advice. I go to my dad for so much advice. Like, I wish I would have just listened to some of that advice before. I feel like half the things that I've gone through in my life since I've, graduated high school, I wouldn't have had to go through if I would have just done those things. Right. So it's funny. And I said, work hard. I've said this multiple times, and this is terrible. I feel like a terrible mother sometimes, but I'm like, my daughter's really good at a lot of things. And I'm like, I just need her to fail. I need her to, because I need her to know how to work hard as she gets on and when things aren't easy for her anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, that does definitely make sense, especially for people who things are easier for. Like, this is like could be a whole nother podcast episode, because I, like you, things were just easy. School was easy. Like, I never really had to study. Like, I could just show up and just do it. And it wasn't until I had to experience things in life that made me step up and work, like having my son, and then saw really, okay, just think about it. Like, if I'm good at stuff already, but I actually work at it, like, that's what I see, like, with you and the things that you're doing now. Okay, you're good at stuff, but, like, now that you know how to work, like, this, like, the really big stuff is about to happen now.
Yes. See, it's like, it's such a difference. It's day and night. So those are the things I would tell my 16-year-old self.
I love it. And, okay, so you all got to be out here. We definitely got to work hard. Where can people find more information about you? If they want to follow you, if they want to support you, especially with the Chiropractic Women of Color, but also yourself.
So for myself, I don't think I said this, I'm Dr. Fit Mama.
Oh, I did not know that. That will be down in the show notes, all.
I am Dr. Fit Mama. I'm actually a micro influencer in the keto diet sphere. Just FYI, that's like just a little side note.
No, we're going to have to talk about that offline for myself. Okay.
So it's Dr. Dr. Fit Mama. And that's only on Instagram, but everything else is Dr. Fit Mama. The Instagram was the only one I was not able to get just the regular Dr. Fit Mama, but that's here nor there. But on TikTok, Pinterest, all that stuff, it's Dr. Fit Mama. If you send me a message, I will help as much as I can. It might take me a while to message back just because I'd be in the zone. And my husband just asked me today, how come you never eat sometimes? And I was like, it's not that I never eat. It's just that I'm so focused at what I'm doing, I forget. And I look up and I'm like, oh man, it's 5 o'clock. I need to eat. Yeah. I already told you guys about that. I get fixated. That's just me. It's my life. And for chiropractic women of color, literally chiropractic women of color. If you just type that in on Instagram, you will get us. You could DM myself or Dr. Lindsay are the only ones who answer that. The other board members don't answer that. They don't answer emails. And it's Chiro, so CHIROWOC @gmail is our email. So any of those, you message us, we will get back to you in a kind of timely manner. You see how I said kind of timely manner?
Yeah.
One of us will get to it.
Okay, I love it. You all, that will be all down in the show notes. Thank you so much for being on the show and bringing another perspective. I think you are my first chiropractor that I've had on the show. And I think that what you're doing is so important because you are highlighting another way that we can do things and that we can take care of our body. And you look like me. So it makes me happy, and I wish you much success. And you all go out and follow her, support the organization. Thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you so much.